Hey YouTube, you may know my family and I took a vacation to Italy. Saw several of these mid-60s Fiat 500s in mint condition. So while I was over there, I made a conscious effort to try to find an actual buildable model. I came across this shop. He had a bunch of different stuff and Legos and everything else, and I said, do you have any kits that you can actually build? And I found a kit, albeit die cast. It's a kit that you could put together, so I'm getting it. And he's pointed this out. It's a die cast metal kit. I believe it's already painted, but you can construct it. You know, I had seen several of these around town. I'm like, that is so cool. And these cars are very cool, these old Fiats. So I grabbed that. I'm going to get started on this Bburago Fiat 500F. The instructions are on the back. You know, made a copy of these, printed those out. So the first thing I'm going to do is unbox everything and kind of lay these parts out in the proper order, then kind of bring them together. So most of the bag parts are plastic, except, wow, that's not, it's not rigid. It's almost like rubber. Maybe look more like a vinyl. Interesting. The engine comes completely assembled. Dashboard with the Speedo decal on there. This would be the back seat. Front seats. Door cards, I assume, go inside the doors. And the roof. Kind of scraped up looking. I may paint some of these. The chassis. Bburago Fiat 500. 1 to 21. Well, this says 1 to 24. Interesting. A little bit of flash on here. Some pieces can use a little bit of cleaning up. License plate. Bumpers. Hubcaps. And then I believe these are the taillight housing and trim. And then these are sun visors. Oh, wow. A rear view mirror with the actual mirror in there. Brake and gas pedal or clutch pedal. Headlights. Nice detail. Okay. And then there's the body. And the body comes already with the handles on, and this is an actual latch back here. And it doesn't work the best. It's a little bit difficult to get this open. There we go. But I don't want to mess with it and mess it up, so I think once I have it closed, it's going to stay that way. And then they do some detail painting on here. So there's silver trim around the window, along the bottom here. And then that looks like a decal. And then this piece put on, and then the turn indicators are also already in up here. Yeah, I'm just not crazy about how this looks. I think I'm going to hit that with the Mr. Surfacer 1500 before I install that. But yeah, that just doesn't look good. And then clean up some of these pieces a little bit. So I just sanded and scraped some pieces here and there that had flash or connection point marks that had to be taken off. Then started in on putting the details on the body, starting with the headlights. and there's these poles that come down, and then on the back of the headlight there's a loop, so you loop that onto the pole, and then there's a marking pin, you push that through, and then it has a little catch, and then you just press them into place. And then I did the taillights, and after a little bit of test fitting I learned that the chrome housing just rests in there, and then the actual lens has a little hook piece on the end, so you push that through and it holds both of them in place. And then the license plate just has a hook on either side, and you push that in. And then those door cards push in as well. There's 3 holes in the card and then 3 pins on the door. And again, needed a little bit of cleanup, but then just pressed it into place. And I did hit that roof with the Mr. Surfacer, so while I waited for that to dry, I just continued on the rest of the parts on the body with the bumpers. And again, similar, they go in with a little snap on the inside. And that glass and flexible chrome trim was pretty fiddly and required quite a bit of test fitting. And once I figured out that the dashboard holds the windshield in place up front, then I could determine the order to do things in, finishing up with those sun visors last, which again was tricky given the posts that they go onto are flexible. So once I got all that in place, I just carefully set it aside to then work on the wheels and chassis. So the wheels are basically 3 parts: the wheel, the tire around it, and the hubcap in the middle. And those hubcaps here and there required some trimming and touch-up. But other than that, all 4 went together nice. And then when I went to install that engine, I discovered that there was a pin sticking up to go into it, but no hole for it to go into. So I ended up drilling that out. Okay, so now that I have the engine in, I think I'm in the home stretch. So I'm kind of working from the bottom up and the top down and meeting in the middle here. I have the wheels put together. So I think now I will attach those to these parts. My understanding is you're supposed to hear a click. There we go. All right. Good. Yeah, these parts are like flexible. They're not a rigid plastic like, a regular model kit. It's kind of interesting. All right, so got those. And now up in here, this part, these. So before I push that all the way down in there, not that anyone's going to see it, but, and again, because it's vinyl, it doesn't scrape. You almost have to trim it. All right, that's better. So now these go into this hole here, facing down. There we go. Now this piece this goes underneath, and that comes up and through. Like that. Now, so that goes through here. No, that's gotta go the other way. It's gotta go this way, right? Does this somehow, I think that goes under there, and then this goes over this pin. That's why it's flexible, so you can make that turn. Okay, I see. So that goes on there, but then the axle, so to speak, itself goes underneath, I believe, so that you can get at it through that hole. Get on there. There we go. So that's one side. And then this is the other. Come on. There we go. There we go. All right. That makes sense. And then my understanding is, yeah, look at that. You can actually turn the wheels. Wow. That's cool. And then this has to go through the dashboard, which is open there, so you can like press it through. So this is the home stretch here. So I think the next thing I'll do is put these seats into the chassis. There we go. And then, yeah, and then these can move forward and back, which is kind of cool. All right, and now the back. Me there. Oh no, this got bent. Did I do that? Don't break, don't break, don't break. I went back and checked and it came like that. Huh. Just noticed that. All right, now, and those same pins that the axle went through need to go onto, there we go. And in the back, this vent for the engine needs to go into the bottom of the, like that. Ugh, this is fiddly. All right. Yeah, these don't want to go into their pins, into their holes here. If that does not go down all the way, it is not going to work. And last but not least, this roof. In 1965, the new Fiat 500 became the best-selling version of the Cinquecento ever produced, also known as the 8 Bolini, nicknamed due to the door hinge anchored with 8 bolts. Innovations and additions on the Fiat 500F are above all aesthetic. The most evident, with aluminum moldings now absent, is the introduction of upwind doors and the new external push-button handles, as well as a higher and wider windshield. The rear roof now integrates into the wing molds, while the chrome moulures remain below the doors. The 500F engine delivered an output of 18 horsepower, and the gas tank had a higher capacity at 22 liters of fuel. Okay, there it is on the shelf. I thought it made sense to put it next to the Volkswagen, kind of its European cousin, and above the scooters that I also got in Italy. Yeah, that was a fun little build, you know, not too difficult. Some fiddly bits and some interesting parts that were, like I said, flexible. But then as I put it together, it totally made sense why they were. So I hope you found that interesting. And as always, thanks for watching and happy modeling.